Hello, I'm Angela Gill with the Major Hospital Foundation, and welcome to episode 10 of the Major Build. We're filming this episode on Thursday, March 3rd, 2016. Today we have about 3 different things I'm going to tell you about. Number 1 is what you can expect to see when you come to the new MHP Medical Center for an outpatient visit. Number 2, we'll talk a little bit about some of the systems like the HVAC and the elevators. Number 3, we'll go up to the 3rd floor, the inpatient unit, and see how that's taking shape. We also have a few miscellaneous items that we'll show you that are just kind of fun to know about. Behind me is the main parking lot right in front of the main entrance. When you come here, we'll have ample parking, over 700 spaces compared to the 300 and some we have downtown now, and that includes street parking downtown. Now behind me is the front door, so you'll come from that parking lot up here to the front door and enter. You can also, there's a canopy overhead, so if you want to be dropped off or do some assisted parking, you'll be protected from the weather by this canopy. Now we're coming across here and into the main entry. This will be the vestibule where you'll come in the very first. Behind me here on this wall, we're going to have a really special feature that'll be the first thing you see when you enter the building. We saved the archway and features from the front porch of the mansion that Mr. and Mrs. Major gave us in 1924 for the very first hospital. Those will be mounted on this wall behind me, and they'll be filled by a giant mural type photograph of Mr. and Mrs. Major standing on their front porch. This way we can pay tribute to our heritage, and we hope help you feel welcome when you come to the new MHP Medical Center. Okay, I just showed you how you come across that main parking lot. Come in through the main entrance, cross the solarium, you'll end up here in the main concourse. The area where I'm standing is where registration will be. If you're here for a physician visit or to visit a patient on the 3rd floor, you take one of these 3 main elevators over here. If you're here for an outpatient visit, outpatient service or procedure, you go either way down the main concourse. If you're here, say, for a blood draw, that's right over here. Very convenient. Something great about this main concourse is that it runs the full length of the facility, and all of our outpatient services are located off of this main concourse. This means there are no unexpected twists or turns, and it's very easy to find your way around. On this end of the main concourse, we're going to do something really special and something that I am truly excited about. And this whole wall will be dedicated to MHP and Major Hospital history. We have a lot of artifacts from the original mansion, and there'll be a lot of places to learn about our history and hear about and read some of the stories that go along with our heritage. One of the really great artifacts that we have is Mrs. Major's rocking chair. We'll refurbish that, put it in a cube, and display it somewhere in either the lobby or the concourse. The story is that Mrs. Major sat in that rocking chair and welcomed patients to the hospital when it was her home. We're hoping by having the rocking chair here in the new facility, we can honor our heritage again and also extend that sincere welcome to you that Mrs. Major used to extend. We're here with Gabe Fleck, one of the project engineers with Messer Construction. Gabe, there are 2 kinds of elevators in the facility, correct?
Correct.
What's going on with this one behind me? What's that?
This elevator here is going to be one of your main service elevators. It is an electric traction elevator, and it's designed to be used for heavier loads. For instance, to bring loads up to the penthouse. It'll service all the way up there, so you can bring up maintenance items to use all that equipment up in the penthouse.
Heavier stuff.
Heavier stuff, yes.
Okay. And when you say a traction elevator, what does that mean? Is it a cable system, I think you mentioned the other day?
That's correct. It's a cable system. There's a pulley system on the top of the elevator that'll bring the elevator up. It's a counterweighted system, and so that's designed to be more efficient as far as loads go.
Okay, and this is really a service elevator. It's not really for the public,
It will
right?
not be used for main public use. That's correct.
Let's go over and take a look at those other elevators then.
Sounds good.
Okay. We are here on the 2nd floor. The elevators that we showed you a little while ago on the 1st floor are right behind us. Gabe, what can you tell me about these elevators?
These elevators are a hydraulic system. They are based down in the basement. They'll have a hydraulic pump that will pump up the pistons that you can see behind me here, and they're make it a lot easier for the elevator to go up and down all the way from 1, 2, 3, and then also in the basement as well.
Okay, and these are designed for public use?
That's correct.
Okay, we can see the doors and everything. What else needs to be done to make these finished?
So to make this a finished product, we're going to have framing put on, drywall, and much more framing, and then they'll have finished and then a painted surface on that.
Okay, what's that thing? Is that the call box?
This will be your call box. You come up, you press the button, go up or down just like a normal elevator, and then up here, that'll be your indicator on what level of the elevator is going to be on.
Very nice. It's neat to see. Those doors are up already.
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
Gabe and I are still here on the second floor. This is where all our physician offices will be, both primary care and specialty care. The elevators that we looked at just a minute ago are right back here, and this is where you'll come when you have a physician office visit. This is wide open space, and it's huge. What are the plans for this area, Gabe?
Angela, the plan is start construction here in about a month, the beginning of April, and to finish the same time the rest of the building will finish, so that we can all turn it over to the hospital at the same time.
All at the same time?
That's the plan.
Okay, that's the plan, and I'm pretty sure we'll have all of our physician offices located here, all relocated and settled in the spring of 2017. Here I am now on the third floor, our inpatient unit. You'll come up those elevators and you'll come to visit your friend, your neighbor, your loved one in a room just like this. This is the first room to be inspected, finished, drywalled, and it even has its first coat of paint. We did that so we could test the functionality of the room. Make sure our cabinetry is going to fit, make sure the bed's going to fit, make sure the layout is exactly the way that it should be. Now that the drywall has been installed and you can get a better idea of the shape of the room, let me reorient you with those zones we talked about in a previous episode. Right here where I'm standing is the family zone. There'll be a pull-out couch. Family members often like to spend the night with their patient. The patient zone is right here. That's where the bed goes. We have a hygiene zone, and then also the provider zone, where the provider does the things, washes their hands, prepares things that they need to prepare for the patient. One of the really special features that we have in every single inpatient room in this facility is the patient lift. These are rated for 600 pounds. They'll lift a patient up to 600 pounds. The greatest thing about these is safety for the provider. They're not leaning over like this, lifting a patient manually. The lift will do the work for them. It's also much safer and much more comfortable for the patient. Gabe and I are here on the fourth floor, or in the mechanical penthouse of the facility. Now, Gabe, in earlier episodes, we've gone down to the lower level and outside, and we've talked about water heaters, chillers, and cooling towers. And up here are the air handlers.
Yes.
Tell us, how does all that work together, all those components work together to heat and cool the air in the building?
Great question, Angela. So the way it works is, depending on what time of year, whether it's the winter months or your summer months, it's going to bring in the outside air into these air handling units. You can see on either side of me. And so it'll either heat up or cool down the air to 55 degrees to create a constant temperature that goes throughout the building. Now, once that 55-degree temperature goes into the rooms, then each room will have the capability to either cool down or warm up the room to their liking for the patient or the provider.
All right, Gabe, just a minute ago we were in the mechanical penthouse and you told me how the chillers, the air handlers, and the cooling towers are all going to work together. And now we've come back down to the third floor. We're back in that patient room and we're looking at a device on the ceiling, or that will be inside the ceiling. What is that and how does that work?
This is called a constant air volume box, or otherwise known as a CAV box. What this does is it receives the 55-degree air that's been heated up from the outside air or cooled down depending on what time of year it is. It'll bring it to this coil. You'll see a hot water supply coming in on the bottom and hot water return going out on the top. What that does is the valve will vary once it brings in the water, and it'll heat up the air to whatever temperature the patient or the provider would like the room to be at. They'd come in, they would type in 72 degrees, so forth and so on. It would tell that valve to let more hot air or hot warm air into the system, or less hot or warm air out.
More state-of-the-art equipment and technology in this highly advanced medical center. To wrap up this episode, I'd like to share a few fun facts with you, things that are just interesting to know. You may have noticed a lot of drywall has been hung since our last episode. This means that everything's been inspected and looked over, signed off on before we hang the drywall. And that is due to the efforts of 150 workers that are on site now. We have 30 electricians, 30 plumbers, mechanical type workers, 5 floor workers, 10 roofers, 5 masons, 10 glazing contractors, 8 elevator workers, and 30 carpenters and finishers. It's kind of nice to know all of the exterior brick is complete and the building is completely roofed in, so it's dry in here. We're running on our own power. Electricity is going through the building and water is running as well. I want to make sure that you know we are patronizing local business, local industry as much as we can in this project. We're using this Knauf EcoBat R19 unfaced insulation all throughout the facility. And here's another example of how we have turned to our local businesses to help with the construction of this facility. A state-of-the-art healthcare facility is necessary for Shelby County to remain a vibrant community. The new MHP Medical Center will meet this need and position Shelby County as a great place to live, work, and play. All of us at MHP are committed to your better health and the prosperity of our community. We hope you share our enthusiasm and support for this exciting Shelby County opportunity. If you would like to partner with us in this worthwhile project, call me at the Major Hospital Foundation, 317-421-0361. Thanks, and until next time, take comfort in knowing that the promise for your healthy future is being built at the new MHP Medical Center.